the catalyst before this debate was his video, his 3 hour long, 3.5 hour long dismantling of Dave Smith. And he decided to dog on, Zulu decided to dog on the Agorists, and well, I can't let that slide. So I thought of just, as an Agorist, I thought I would address his brief little argument against Agorism before the video starts. I thought it would be worth mentioning.
Now, this is not to be construed as a pragmatist argument. I am not here saying that based upon the current goings-on, you must mould your principles to deal with them. I am saying that the specific actions required to advance those absolute principles depends upon your circumstances. In pursuit
Now, Agorist would agree with this. What he just said there, I would agree with.
of a radicalist strategy, Lenin identified two opposite but equally dangerous extremes. On the one hand were the adventurists, who demanded rash and immediate direct action, along with a complete refusal of established political channels.
Now, it is true that Agorists do refuse any way of using political means or political channels. But this is not out of being, rash and calling for immediate action. And if it doesn't immediately call for the end of the state, then we don't agree with it. That's not what Agorists think, and they don't think their strategy will bring an immediate end to the state. The reasons why he gives for why Agorists dismiss any political means to achieve libertarian ends, the reasons why he would give for the Agorists is just not true. He just kind of just straw mans the Agorists. So, since he is a communicator of libertarian ideas, and I think that he is miscommunicating libertarian ideas, I think it's in my best interest to address this.
And on the other hand were the opportunists, who had a tendency towards halfway measures and compromise, without a strong commitment to long-term goals. The adventurists are the all-or-nothing sorts. A libertarian.
So, yeah, that's not what Agorists are. We're not all or nothing. We're more for a strong commitment to long-term goals. That's why we agree with our strategy. The strategy of non-political means, and for counter-economics. Counter-economics essentially just being black market activities, or underground economic activities that are not part of the status political economy.
Libertarian adventurist would completely reject a reduction in the income tax on the grounds that it doesn't completely abolish the state with a single swipe of a pen. They are.
Hold up, let's hear that one more time. Whoops, I went too far back.
And on the other hand were the opportunists, who had a tendency towards halfway measures and compromise, without a strong commitment to long-term goals. The adventurists are the all-or-nothing sorts. A libertarian adventurist would completely reject a reduction in the income tax on the grounds that it doesn't completely abolish the state with a single swipe of a pen.
This is just not an accurate description of what Agorists are. We're not for all or nothing. We simply just think that using the political means is counterintuitive towards libertarian ends. It has nothing to do with, we don't believe in a reduction of the income tax unless if it completely reduces it. We just believe that this is not our attention should not be focused on political means if our goals are to end politics altogether. And if we're trying to end politics altogether, and also with that, we don't think ending politics is going to be brought about by using political means. We necessarily think that our ends, which are non-political, therefore our means need to be consistent with our ends, which need to be non-political. So necessarily what Agorists are trying to argue for is exactly a principled approach to libertarian strategy. If our principles are anti-politics and our ends are anti-politics, therefore our means should be consistent with that, and they should be anti-politics. In other words, we're trying to break the illusion and the superstition that morality is derived from politics. The morality of justice is derived through the political rituals of voting and legislation and politics. And that we are trying to break that superstition in people and trying to make people think in a different way, that morality is not derived from some politician or some piece of paper that declares a law, but that there are natural laws and natural uh, human rights as property of human nature within all of us, as inalienable to us. That liberty and life and the right to property is an inalienable moral fact of human nature. And these are things that I'm sure that Liquid Zulu would agree with me on, but where we disagree is that how we identify the ends of libertarianism. All libertarians, their ends are to realize the free market worldwide. That we should live, the human society should be a completely free market. But where the Agorists take this a step further is that they recognize that the black market is the free market. Necessarily, the black market is the free market. That's where, obviously, there's no government regulations and there's no government oversight. And that is our goal. That is what we want. The black market. The black market is simply just the free market underground from the more dominant political economy. And so, because the black market is the free market, and the free market is our ends, therefore, we need to be focusing on the black market and flourishing the black market, feeding and growing the black market, because that is freeing the free market. But let's hear what he has to say.
They are less relevant for this video, but they are also in error. You will see these types frequenting Agorist circles or bemoaning the election of Milei. That is, the error they commit is that they conflate defending against aggression as being the same thing as aggression. If Milei gets into office and with every move cuts away at the state, thus protecting the property of innocents, they will say that he is evil and worthless because he didn't take it all down. Whatever legitimate criticisms one might have of Milei, this isn't one of them. Stopping a suicide bomber from killing 10 out of the 100 people he tried to kill does not mean that you are responsible for the deaths of those 90 that did die. The opportunists, on the other hand, are the
So, anyways, it's very clear that Liquid Zulu does not understand what agorism is at all. He's never read Samuel Konkin. Probably the clip that he took that Sam Konkin...
You will see these types frequenting...
Yeah, so he probably pulled this clip from some sort of Sam Konkin lecture, but he probably didn't even listen to it, nor did he probably ever read anything from Sam Konkin, because he clearly doesn't have an idea of what agorism is at all, since he made a complete straw man out of us. Which I would say is malicious, because it's not like, you know, he's not willing to learn libertarian theory. He is the libertarian theory guy. He likes to advertise himself as an educator of libertarianism, which I think in general he really is a good educator. But in this instant, he just completely did not do that at all. And I honestly regard it as malicious because you could just literally read the New Libertarian Manifesto. It's pretty short, and then you can have a solid understanding of what agorism is. And you could have, you know, pulled out quotes from the manifesto and constructed an accurate description of what agorism is, and then critique it. Yeah, it's fine to critique agorism, that's fine. But you need to actually accurately describe it, and not call it this some sort of adventurism, which it's not. Yeah, I just think it's malicious, to be honest.